Hello, this is Ray speaking, your friendly neighborhood nerd, and today I want to show you how to identify hardware in your computer. In case you have to reinstall your box and you don't know what drivers to pick because it's not supported out of box by Windows, which can happen, there's a simple solution to that, and we're gonna start with a nice tool that I'm gonna show you. First off, we start with preparing a thumb drive. You know, something like this, a USB stick. You can get it in various sizes, and there's one thing that bugs me about them, which is a Linux image isn't that big, so you don't want to really sacrifice one thumb drive for one image. So the solution is pretty simple. Just take this tool named Ventoy, and we will prepare a USB thumb drive to serve you a couple of images. And by a couple of images, I mean as many as you can fit on the USB thumb drive if you need to. In my case, I keep a couple of Linux images in there, a Windows installer, anything you need for for the system administrator's daily life. So we just download this. I choose the Windows installer because I'm currently sitting on Windows. And once we've got that down, we can start writing our USB thumb drive. So this is the contents of the archive we just downloaded, and there is that Ventoy to disk executable, which we'll happily double click. It will want to run as administrator, so that's not a problem. And there you select your thumb drive. In my case, I've got this one, and it says there is this version that we want to install, and there's currently no Ventoy thing installed, so we'll just hit install. It yells about, you will lose data, blah, blah, blah. So, well, this really means your thumb drive data will be destroyed. So we'll do it. There we go. And the USB thumb drive will be prepared. And this is the special magic in there. There we go. Now what we have is the Ventoy E drive. That's where you drop the ISO images, the CD-ROM images that you can boot off. I personally choose the System Rescue CD, which you can download here, which is a nifty tool that I use for my daily jobs. If I have to identify some hardware, if I have to work with systems that did crash and refuse to boot, it's one handy dandy tool. So I grabbed the ISO file and I just copied onto the Ventoy drive. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines please, and make sure you boot from the USB thumb drive. Yes, plug it in. And I will use a virtual machine to show you how the boot up looks, because I am not equipped with a good GoPro camera, so it's easier to read that way. So I'm just letting that boot with the default options, and that should do. That should pretty much do it. And text will spill out, nothing to be afraid of. Trust me, this is all pretty normal. If it's not normal, it's usually written in red. So there we've got the login prompt, and we have done it. And this is where you can just type in commands, and this is where it gets really funny. To make it even more fun for you, I'm gonna use a real machine with a Linux system and show you the commands. It works the same on the System Rescue CD. It's just, a bit more interesting than poking around on a virtual machine. So, welcome to my box. We are here on a typical, let's call it a laptop. And using the command ls CPU, we'll just have a look at what CPU is built in there. And don't worry about the information you get there. It's clearly visible that this is an Intel Core i7 4650U CPU. And don't worry, it shows a lot more info like CPU family, model, threads per core. Threads per core, that's interesting for you. And cores per socket. So this tells me it's for threads that we can work with. The rest here, that's just flags like what special things can it do. And this is usually interesting for Linux stuff. So the next thing we're gonna look at is the Pci Bus Ls. PCI shows you what's in there. So you see it's got the host bridge, and there we have something: the graphics controller, audio device, USB controller, another audio device, and an Ethernet controller. And you might have guessed it, we can do the same thing on the USB bus, which we will do, because there's one thing that you always need to be aware of. Some laptops internally wire USB cams, as this one does, or onto the USB bus. It happens to, sometimes there are Wi-Fi cards also on the same bus. It's just the way you identify your stuff. This is how you find the hardware and identify it. To get the drivers, you usually want to go to the vendor's homepage and look up some support section. That's where you get your downloads, so not a big deal. And no matter what the label on the hardware says, this is what the chip is on it, so the drivers should really work. Well, that's all I have for you today. So I would appreciate if you would give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, or if you want to know more, feel free to get to me on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and even on Sunday at 5 p.m. Central European Time. Links are all in the description, even the software used. So this is Ray signing off for today. Good day.